Salam sejahtera dan bersama saya Rizal Zulkapli, dan hari ini kita akan melihat kepada sistem pendidikan di Malaysia, dan juga pada hari ini jika timbul pelbagai masalah seharusnya masyarakat dan juga pengkritik melihat kepada bagaimana kita boleh kembali kepada sistem pendidikan untuk membetulkan masalah ini. Dan juga masalah yang saya maksudkan adalah berkenaan dengan nilai yang ada dalam anak muda pada ketika ini, dan juga sama ada mereka ini mampu diambil bekerja ataupun tidak, dan juga daripada segi pewatakan, daripada segi ekonomi negara, daripada segi pelbagai yang melibatkan anak muda, ramai akan menuding jari kepada sistem pendidikan. Dan juga persoalan pada kali ini adalah, adilkah jika kesemua ini dibebankan kepada sekolah dan juga institusi dan juga mereka yang terlibat dalam pendidikan formal tersebut, namun bagaimana pula dengan peranan masyarakat untuk memastikan bahawa mereka juga berkongsi tanggungjawab tersebut. Untuk membincangkan berkenaan dengan perkara ini, kita bersama dengan Alina Amir, Pengasas Bersama Arus Academy. Dan izinkan saya untuk meneruskan perbincangan dalam bahasa Inggeris. Alina, let's look at that. Let's look at whether it's fair to put everything on the shoulders of the teachers and also the school and that formal education system to ensure that we can create better youth for the future?
Well, in my opinion, it's not entirely fair to just put the burden on the teachers or on the school system itself. If you really look at a student's schedule, the part where they are in school compared to the part where they are at home or with the society, the school is where only a small part of their life is actually spent in school. And whatever the teachers are teaching them in school is very much already scripted and prepared for them in a curriculum. If we're looking at values and if we're looking at good characteristics, to sustain that, they need to also see it being reflected at home, being reflected within their society. Having said that, I do acknowledge that we are a centralized education system. For us to shift the entire system to something else, to something new, it's very, very difficult. So if we, as a private citizen, see that there's opportunities for us to support teachers, opportunities for us to come up with new initiatives to further enhance the experience of a student, then go ahead, go back to school, look at how you can support teachers, look at what programs, what new initiatives can you help start to help students beyond school.
Is that what Arus Academy is doing, to also support the formal education system and to give opportunities to underprivileged schools and kids to be a part of new opportunities?
Yes, Arus was started not so that we would come up with a new private entity, a new private education center. Arus was created because we wanted to help the public school education system. When we started our curriculum, we did not use an international curriculum. We actually based our curriculum based on a national curriculum.
Sorry, I'm just going to interject you right there. Yeah. Why is that important?
It is very important because as a teacher, we've studied the national curriculum. I personally think that we have one of the best in the world. It's just a matter of delivering it. How can we deliver the current curriculum in a more relevant, meaningful, and efficient way for our students to digest and learn from it? There's no need for us to upgrade our curriculum to something different or to something more international. Ours is world-class already. The problem right now is the way we deliver them. When ours was created, it was not for us to start an international private school. It is for us to come up with a way, test our method, and then go back to school and train teachers or share our content with them. We have no intention of starting a private institution and compete with public school. We have all the intention to do as much research, to do as much testing so that we can go back to public school and help teachers and help students there.
I last spent my days in a formal education system, in the formal education system about 19 years ago. How has it changed since maybe 5 years ago? I'm sure a lot has changed, and I'm sure with these changes, gaps are being created right now.
I'm not sure whether there's significant changes. If you're talking about an upgrade in the curriculum, yes, we see an upgrade in the curriculum. We see changes in the curriculum where additional things have been added on to the syllabus. We see now computer science being taught all throughout, from Standard 1 all the way to Form 5. So it is part of the mainstream now. It's not before this. But how significant are those changes? In terms of teaching and learning, there's still not much changes. In terms of using computers to learn, it's still only being implemented in a few schools that have access to it and have the infrastructure for it. But most majority of the schools are still the same. If you were to go back to school, it would feel like you've never left.
Okay, this is a generalizing question, but help me with this. If have these changes that you've mentioned earlier, have the changes actually created a better society, better youth coming out of the formal education system?
I have no data to back up whatever I'm saying, but based on observation, I don't think we have created better society or better youth coming up from our education system. Why I say this is because we are still in a society where exams are still very much, very, very important. We are an exam-oriented education system. When we are an exam-oriented education system, we don't look at values, we don't look at characters. In our report card, you only see what you ace or what you fail. There is no characteristic report card to say, you have improved in collaboration, you have improved in integrity. There's nothing like that to gauge whether you have become a better person or not. And when we are in an exam-oriented ecosystem, we would mold our kids to memorize formats, memorize answers. And what do you become? You become someone who's good at memorizing, but do you become someone who's passionate about something or have high integrity or are able to collaborate with different kind of people? We don't have a focus on that. We don't gauge that.
But these situations are probably different from school to school. Say, for example, the less privileged school would probably focus more on trying to manage the students as opposed to a more privileged school. A less to-do school or less privileged would be managing students, while to-do schools would be managing, looking at sending students to debates, to competitions. These gaps that you see, or these gaps that you experience in the education system as a teacher, how has that shaped your view and maybe look into what you can do as a private citizen to address those issues?
I think one of the reasons why we see a gap between the good schools and the not so good schools is the difference in the school leadership and the difference in the way we support our teachers. I think one of the most important thing and one of the most important thing for us to focus on right now is to really support the teachers to be the best teacher they can be in a school. If we already have a world-class curriculum, then we need to have world-class teachers to be able to deliver the curriculum as it is meant to be delivered. School leadership and professional development programs around teaching and learning needs to be implemented at a higher quality. So what can we, private citizens, do? We have so many people who come from different kinds of backgrounds, corporate backgrounds, academicians. We have our own strength and we can come together to support teachers in many ways. If you can come up with a way where I can make teachers to become better leaders, for example, that would make all the difference. Good school leaders will create good school teachers who will then create good students. Okay,
we'll take a short break. When we come back, let's talk about your education, your background. You went to Illinois to study statistics, actuarial science. Actuarial science. And how can people with experience, with knowledge, contribute and give back to the schools? How is Arus Academy doing that, and what are some of the programs put forth by Arus Academy? Kita akan berehat seketika, kembali selepas ini. Kita bersama dengan Alina Amir, Pengasas Bersama Arus Academy, untuk melihat kepada bagaimana rakyat dan juga bagaimana masyarakat di luar sana boleh membantu sistem pendidikan untuk menambah baik kepada sistem pendidikan, kerana kita tidak boleh hanya komplain sahaja, tapi kita juga harus menyumbang dan juga melihat kepada kekuatan kita untuk disumbangkan kepada sistem pendidikan tersebut. You went to Illinois and you studied actuarial science and you were an analyst for about 2 years before you entered, before you joined TFM. Please share with us, how has the experience changed you to make you want to leave that comfortable position? I'm sure people ask you this question so many times already. To want to leave that comfortable position and teach kids, and also you started Arus Academy.
Okay, one of the things that really made me want to leave the comfort zone was because A few reasons lah. Back then I was young, braver, I guess, and I knew that whatever I've learned in my head, whatever experiences I've had in college, for example, nobody else can take this away from me. And so if I were to jump into teaching and not like it, I will still retain my knowledge from college days. I will still retain my experiences and my privilege. But the good thing about teaching is it's so powerful, it changes you as a person. It changes the way you look at life. And I fell in love with teaching, I fell in love with my students, and I realized I didn't want to do anything else other than be in education and teach kids. I realized how privileged I was, be it with my family or my socioeconomic background or the opportunities I've gotten since I was young until now. When I don't see the same privilege and opportunities being given fairly to everybody, it affects me as a person. And this is one of my biggest motivation, to ensure that the playing field is level for everybody, that everybody has equal opportunity to excel as I have.
But can you guilt people into doing that? Can you guilt more people into pressuring them to do more of that, to give back to the society? Because there is inequity in the society, and people, as you mentioned earlier, and I'm sure, I believe more than one people probably share the same sentiment. But can you guilt people into doing more for the society, especially the education system?
I'm not sure if I can guilt people, but I do often urge people to go back and visit their school. Any school. It doesn't have to be the school that you came from, but just visit any school. See what you can do and what you can do to help in terms of infrastructure, or even supporting teachers, or even supporting students. See, I've always imagined if we have all these smart engineers, smart data scientists, smart economists, just come back to school, just look at our world-class syllabus, find out ways for you to create powerful lessons around the syllabus, and then give it to the teacher so the teacher is able to teach it in a relevant and meaningful way as the industry wants. And so all of us have our own expertise. If you could get a data scientist back to school, look at the syllabus, teach statistics under math in a way that is relevant for the industry, wouldn't that be great? People always think, oh, they can wait until university for them to see the relevance of it. I disagree. If you wait until at the very end to see the relevance, students are going to not be interested. And we see this when students are not interested to pursue STEM fields or go into science streams. It's because it is difficult. Why is it difficult? It's because it's not interesting for them. Why is it not interesting? It's not relevant.
Sorry, how is Arus Academy changing all that, or try to change all that?
So we are very interested in in supporting teachers to deliver the current curriculum. And so we study the national syllabus and we create lessons around it that we think would change the way our students think, learn, and act. So for example, I love that our history syllabus has included Zaman Air Batu for Form 1 students. That is such an interesting topic to teach our kids. But what's beyond Zaman Air Batu is climate change. And when you teach Zaman Air Batu with climate change, students will start thinking about, hey, the climate changes that happened in the Ice Age was natural, but the climate change that is happening today is not natural. What can I do to change this? Then history comes to life, history becomes more interesting. And that's what we do at Arus. We look at the national syllabus, think of ways to make the syllabus more interesting, create lessons around it, and give it to the teachers.
And this is the after-school program that you've created with Arus, right?
It's one of the many content that we've created under Arus.
Okay, talk to us about the after-school program. Why is it important to not just burden students with the program in the formal education inside the classroom, but also to take them beyond the traditional method of learning and education, but also to include the society as part of the education?
So we realize there's a lot of constraint when it comes to school itself. For us to introduce new things, we need to have champion teachers, we need teachers to be responsible for the kids. But teachers already have their burden to take care of. Having an after-school session like Arus brings them outside of the environment. It's a different environment. They get to mingle with students from other schools as well. And what we do in Arus is enhancing whatever they've already learned at school. How can you then use technology to make whatever you've learned in math and science, for example, come to life. With programming and coding and robotics, it's not just programming line programs. You must be able to have strong basic math knowledge, strong basic physics knowledge. Where do you learn that? From school. So you bring whatever knowledge you have from school, come to Arus, make it come to life through robotics, through technology.
Mm-hmm. And you deal with underprivileged students, right? Yes. Underprivileged teenagers and youth. How has that changed their experience when it comes to learning, and has that changed their perception towards learning, towards the particular subject or the education system itself?
So one of the biggest changes that I've seen with the kids is their aspirations have grown. Mm-hmm. So before this, before we started Arus, when it was just us in school and we asked for ambitions, they could only mention the ambitions that they are familiar with. Mm-hmm. Either their parents were doing that or their elder siblings were doing it. So for example, at the particular school that I was in, a lot of them came from families where the dads are lorry drivers. Mm-hmm. And so their ambition is to be a lorry driver. When they see a lot of factories around the school, their ambition is to be a factory worker. But after starting Arus, they started to see the potential of education. Hey, with education, I can actually be the person who invents things in the factory. Mm-hmm. I can actually invent stuff like the lorry for them. I don't have to drive the lorry. Aspirations changes. Now they want to do well in education because they want to be computer scientists, because they want to be programmers. And they do pursue this. The kids that we have, our alumni who has left school and who have completed SPM, now pursue higher education in computer science. Even if they go to Polytechnic, it's still in regards to a STEM field. Mm-hmm. Even if they pursue their passion in culinary, in psychology, they still have the passion to do something with technology to change the way they live. Okay, let's take another short break. When we come back, we'll talk about the creating brains for the future, or nurturing brains for the future. I think it's important for us to also address whether beyond what they are doing or what they will be doing after Arus, after joining Arus, will they have the same opportunity and access to the bigger things in life? Because I think we heard earlier how the parents, the background of the parents would also influence how kids or children will turn out in the future. Let's talk about that shortly. Kita akan berehat seketika, kembali selepas ini. Bertemu kembali, kita bersama dengan Alina Amir, Pengasas Bersama Arus Academy. Let's talk about the collective brains and also creating and nurturing brains for the future. Mm-hmm. You work together with 3 of your other co-founders. What do you bring to the table and what do the other co-founders bring to the table? We have very, very different personality and very different interest. Felicia and I, we both have a degree. We both happen to have a degree in actuarial science. David has a degree in psychology and a minor in computer science. Daniel is an engineer by training. And all of us have different views on how we can mold the students. And this is very important because we don't want to have multiple Alinas. You know, we want a balanced students and youth. Daniel, having an engineering background, looks at the technical bit of it. Mm-hmm. Felicia, having an actuarial science background, looks at the finance bit of Arus and how to grow. I, having had corporate training before, looks at the strategic part of Arus and how to develop more business. Mm-hmm. And David, looking at the psychology and the computer science, also looks at the curriculum and how to looks at developing new curriculum for the kids. Mm-hmm. And together we bring diversity to the way we design our programs. And it's not just the co-founders, it's the larger team as well. Mm-hmm. The team comprises of team members who come from diverse backgrounds, not just education. They have majority have had experience teaching in schools because they are also Teach from Malaysia alumni. And so having a team that is passionate about helping the B4D, especially in education, is crucial in the way that Arus grows.
Mm-hmm. And do you think you're making you're nurturing the future brains of the nation? Do you see how big a responsibility that is, and do you understand, and do you take the do you do this because you want to make a positive change in the nation?
On a larger sense of it, yes. But for someone who considers herself and her team to be grassroots people, we are addressing problems that we are seeing right in front of our eyes. If I see a student who is illiterate, how can I make that person be able to read? I'm not looking at the nation at a larger scale. I guess that's where economists comes in, that's where psychologists and researchers comes in. But as an educator on the ground, we are addressing the most immediate challenges. Undocumented kids who can't afford to go to school, how can we help that right now? And I do believe that we are doing meaningful work every single day, because someone has got to do it. Someone will have to do the research of the data, big data and all that, but someone will actually have to do it right now instead of waiting for research to come out and be published.
And now you're focusing on coding, and there's the STEM part to the programs at Arus.
Yeah.
What's next? How big do you want to grow Arus? And surely you want to probably address other things in the future, or would it just be a focus on STEM, or how does it work?
So we did start off with STEM. We did start off with teaching programming, coding, innovation, and design. But now we've expanded to the humanities subjects. How can we also integrate technology in the humanities subjects and the art subject? How can we look at the entire scale of the national curriculum and make everything meaningful? We are testing a lot of our new content, and every time we work with new collaborators, we come up with new content. For example, we came up with a financial literacy program, which we never thought we would do. But with the collaboration we had with FWD Takaful, it gave us a chance to, hey, let's now create financial literacy program, which I see a lot of potential when it comes to teaching math meaningfully in school, teaching English meaningfully in school. And so I do see the progress in the way that the content has been developed in Arus, and soon enough it will be holistic enough to actually start an entire school by itself.
How important are these partners to Arus?
It is very, very important. Without these partners, it is almost impossible for Arus to scale, or for us to reach any innovation in the way that we work. We've worked with multiple different partners before: FWD Takaful, CIMB Islamic, Petronas ICT, and every time we work with different collaborators, it changes the way we develop our content, and it allows my team to grow as a person, to grow as an educator, because we see the different factors that are important to be included in education.
And I think the final question is, we've talked about developing, also nurturing, not developing, but nurturing the students, nurturing the young people so that they can be better. But do they have the same access to bigger things? Do they have the same access to do well in life, as opposed to the privileged young people? Do they have the same access? Can they have the same access? Is that another hurdle that you think educators and also people in the society can also address?
Well, they should have the same access, but whether they have it or not is still questionable. I think this is something that the community needs to address together. When we talk about a meritocracy system, is it really based on merit? And when we talk about giving scholarships to B40, are the scholarships really going to the B40? This is really out of the locus of our control. People like me can only prep the students as much as we can, but when it comes to the bridge, the community, the nation needs to agree, what kind of bridge do we build? Who can go through that bridge? Everybody should be able to go through that bridge. You level the playing field, we have a strong meritocracy system, then everybody will have the access.
On that note, we thank you very much, Alina Amir, co-founder of Arus Academy. Bersama kami bincangkan berkenaan dengan apa yang dilakukan oleh Arus Academy dan juga apakah caranya untuk membina minda-minda dan juga anak muda untuk masa depan. Saya Rizal Zulkapli, salam hormat.